our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
The Ramble with Alex Bennett, tonight at 10:30 Eastern on GabNet.
Hi, everybody. This is Alex Bennett, and I've had a long and interesting trip. It's called life. And for years, people have demanded that I write a book about it, and while I've been a writer, my main talent has always been that of a broadcaster. Over a year ago, I decided not to write the book, but using my best skill, I decided to tell it. It's called Life in the Passing Lane, and I described it as an audio biography. It's presented in 30-minute chapters, so it's easy to binge listen. And you can access it on the GabNet page by clicking on Life in the Passing Lane and going to a page with every single episode, plus some extras. If you want to access it on your mobile device, that's easy too. It's on iTunes. It's Life in the Passing Lane, an audio biography by me. I'm Alex Bennett.
Jack Bishop's Intersection, tonight at midnight Eastern on GabNet.
GabNet's creator and founder, Alex Bennett, is always looking for ways to stay on the cutting edge. He first revolutionized commercial radio. He built a career on being one of the first to speak to the new generation of the 60s. Then he reinvented himself on morning drive radio, where he was the first to use a live studio audience and guest comedians each morning. Another ratings winner. Next, Alex took off for outer space as he brought his unique perspective on politics and news to the satellites. Always a pioneer, his next stop was to create a unique format that no one else had ever done, with citizen panels on the internet. What's next? Is there any place left to innovate? Are there any stones left unturned? Introducing GabNet Live on Roku. That's right, GabNet Live on Roku. No lies, because you can't lie on the internet. GabNet is now available on your TV. You can listen to GabNet's 24/7 network stream or browse your favorite GabNet shows from the archives, just like on Gabnet.net. But that's not all. You can also watch video of Alex's archived live stream TV programs, as well as his televised Friday Night Ramble. It's all there for you, and all you have to do is turn on your Roku device, search the Roku store for GabNet Live, and add the channel to your lineup. Then sit back and enjoy. It's GabNet Live on Roku. Thanks, Alex.
Who is Damian Chaplin? To begin with, he's host of the second oldest program on GabNet, doing The Exchange since 2014, 4 days a week for 25 minutes each night. Now, that has all changed. Welcome to the new Exchange. 1 day a week, but now for a full hour, or longer if he wishes. You see, there are no other programs on Monday night, his new slot, so he's all alone and can do whatever the hell he pleases. Of course, with no other GabNet offerings on that night, you might forget he's there. Well, don't, damn it. It's an immersive, interesting, and informative fare that's worth going out of your way to hear. Plus, he needs you to fill out his citizen panel. Damian Chaplin's new day and time are, now jot this down, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The Exchange with Damian Chaplin, the loneliest man on GabNet. By the way, did I say Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time? GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19.
Furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this podcast.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex. This is the Ramble, and it goes from now until midnight on the East Coast of the United States. Well, here's a guy who we haven't seen for a little while. His name is Stephen Pearl, and he calls us about once every week or so, and we have a nice conversation, and then all of a sudden, he couldn't do it any longer. Tell them why. What's been going on with your complicated life?
Oh my God! Well, I moved, so I've been in the middle of moving for like the last month. So I'm about 85% in the new place, and I just got to go to the old place to pick up some more small stuff, a couple more trips, and I'll be totally moved into my brand new.
Let's back up a little bit. Okay, back up, because there's some people who are here who don't know what went on with you. You got kicked out of your apartment.
I didn't get kicked. I left. Well, he wanted to sell, so the landlord was crazy, and I didn't want to stay there anyway. So I found a new place. Lucky me. So I'm in Koreatown. I'm the only Jew in Koreatown. LB's a lonely town.
Yeah, but
you're the only Jewish boy in Koreatown.
Are you having to pay more rent than you were paying, or is it the same?
About the same. About the same.
It's about the same. Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, when she changed the rent to the old place, I'm paying a lot less. So yeah, from now on, you pay this much. So no, I don't think so.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
It's terrific, you know?
Yeah, it's nice. I got a nice little cozy one bedroom, and the cats like it, and I like it. And that's cool. So,
yeah. So
anyway. No guards at the gate. Thank God. Jews don't like guards at gates.
Jews don't like guards at gates. Oh, so you don't have a gate at this place, right?
There's a gate. It's an electric gate, but you open it with a little remote the way I like it. There's no guard there.
Yeah.
You're not the Jew, are you?
Yeah. So anyway, so you had to. You see, you had to move. So we couldn't talk to you for a couple of weeks while you were moving.
Yeah. I was moving and going nuts and this and that. So yeah.
And then your computer wasn't working.
Then the computer wasn't working. Hey, it's still not plugged in yet.
Yeah. And so we're using his phone today, which actually the picture on your phone looks better than the picture from your computer.
Well, we can use the phone from now on. Hello.
The only trouble is the sound is not as good, so it's a trade-off.
Sit on my face.
So it's a trade-off. Yeah. So
yeah, it's a trade-off.
Yeah.
You want sound or you want a picture? I don't have both.
So anyway, you and then you had to do all this moving during the coronavirus crisis.
Oh yeah, sure. I thank God I had friends help me with the big stuff like the beds and the couch and all that. And I did the little stuff by myself, one trip after another, after another, after another. So I'm almost done now.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to sell all my records because I don't play them anymore. So I got to find a place that buys these records.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you're getting rid of your vinyl, are you?
Yeah, I don't need it anymore. So I'm downsizing. And everything I want to hear is on YouTube anyway. So what the hell?
Is on YouTube anyway, exactly. Oh, I'm opening up. That's what people hear.
Carbonation.
I should hide the brand so they don't get a free plug.
Cover the brand name so
you really can't do it with Coca-Cola. They're just so branded all over the place.
Coca-Cola!
Yeah.
With the Christmas can, with the ornament on it.
So anyway, last time we talked to you, you had just gotten over an operation.
Oh, that was in August. Yeah, I had that, and I had the cat that lost an eye, and I had the leaving the apartment, and all kinds of crazy shit.
This is a lot of bad luck for you in 1 year, isn't it?
Ooh, man, I walked under a ladder and broke a mirror on the way.
I mean, you people out there thought it was bad that you had to deal with the COVID crisis. He's had to deal with, what was the operation for again?
It was for my AFib. I got rid of my AFib. Believe me, with the stress I've been going through since then, it would have killed me like 10 times over. So thank God.
But you don't feel the AFib anymore.
No, never. Not one time. Not one time. Zero.
Yeah.
Strong like bull.
Yeah. I don't know. You're a little too peppy right now. We could use something to slow you down, like AFib.
You should have seen the size of the cup of coffee I had before, like jumbo.
Do you do a lot of coffee?
You know, I never touched it until about 8 years ago. Then I started getting into it. Now I love coffee.
I didn't. I was at KMEL in San Francisco. And they had a coffee machine. I never liked coffee. Hated coffee. Detested coffee. But they had a coffee machine, and I figure it's free. I may as well try it. So I tried a cup of coffee, and it wasn't, once I put enough sugar in it.
It's not so
It
bad.
took away the taste I didn't like in coffee, and so I said that's not bad. And then I started talking faster, And then I then I found that it woke me up because I had to do a morning show every morning. So every morning I'm having a cup of coffee, and that's where I started. And then and then I started becoming a connoisseur, to where I'm now using. You know what this is in this cup? In this cup here, this is "Wake Me the Hell Up." That's the name of the coffee.
Wake me the hell up.
And it's a particular flavor called Jamaican Me Crazy.
I like that. So, from the makers of Jolt Cola, all the sugar and twice the caffeine.
Oh, do you remember Jolt? You remember Jolt Cola? You remember that?
Yeah.
They took that off the market, didn't they? Because people were getting heart attacks from it or something.
Probably, yeah. It was like buying an 8-ball of that's less than stellar Coke.
Yeah, it had like twice the caffeine of a cup of coffee.
Oh, the sugar and twice the caffeine. It was
that's why I do Diet Coke. Is because number one, the diet, because it helps my teeth and everything else, and it keeps the weight off. And the second reason why is that it has caffeine in it. Quite a bit of caffeine,
I like caffeine.
The only thing is, it's not as jolting as the one with the sugar, because the sugar then gives you the sugar rush.
That's right. You gotta have that sugar.
I haven't had sugar in so long. I do sugar-free this and sugar-free that. I have sugar-free candy.
Yeah.
It's sugar-free soda, sugar-free that. And then I'm wondering, if I start taking sugar again, what's that going to? How am I going to be affected by it?
Oh, you might grow another head. You never know what could happen.
Grow another head?
It can happen.
Yeah. So
that's the thought that just hit me. It's all the coffee, man.
So anyway, let's talk about some of our friends, okay? Because I talk to them more than you do. I was talking to Kravitz yesterday, and he's
in Massachusetts, right?
He's in Massachusetts, and do you ever remember him being happy?
Oh God! Well, a couple of times.
No, that was years. Really. Believe it or not, he hasn't touched drugs in 15 years. Yeah, he's been clean.
Really? Wow.
I know time passes pretty fast, but 15 years.
15 years.
But I've seen him, mildly up. But I've never seen him as happy as he is now in Massachusetts. He's just,
I'm glad he's happy.
Yeah, he's so happy. It's wonderful here. I'm having a great time. I'm enjoying myself. The COVID's here, but in Massachusetts, it's pretty low. It's lower than New York, and New York is the fourth lowest in the country. Then Massachusetts, then Maine, and then I think Vermont after that. Yeah. So, but out there in Nevada, you guys are just one big petri dish of
yeah, I know, but I still worked last week with Jimmy JJ Walker show with him at the Laugh Factory last week.
Wait a minute, you were with who?
With Jimmy JJ Walker from Good Times. Remember him?
Well, I should have had you say hello to him. He's an old friend of mine. He's an old. You know how he's an old?
I did not know that, Mike.
You know how he's an old friend? I was working at WMCA.
I don't know.
I was working at WMCA, and that was a station at which we had what were called engineers, board operators. They ran the knobs while we did our show. And Jimmy Walker was a board op at WMCA.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
The show was this week. He's a guy. I like him a lot. He's a good person.
Yeah, and he's a great person. And I interviewed him a few years back, and he loves to tell stories about me, and half of them I didn't even remember. Yeah. Okay, but he used to always ask me. He says, "I'm doing my little comedy act down at such and such. Why don't you come see me?" And I never wanted to go, and the reason I never wanted to go is I related to him as my board op. And I couldn't see how this guy was funny. And I didn't want to go because once you go, you were then trapped into the other question. Well, what did you think? And then I've got
exactly.
and then I'm a terribly honest person that way, and I would go, well, it needs a work, and I didn't want to be put in that position, so I never went to see him work. All of a sudden, the next thing I look at, he's on Good Times, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You know,
Everybody knows who he is. Yeah, it's amazing.
well, you know, it's like
You never know.
it was the same shock I had when Roseanne came to my studio during the comedy competition in San Francisco, and she was brought there every day by a friend of ours, a common friend of ours, who decided to take heart and give her a roof over her head while she was in San Francisco. And her name was Gail. And it was, she just came in, sat every day, and I'd never asked her to be on the show, because I looked at this woman, and if you just saw Roseanne, okay, didn't know who she was, and there she was sitting in your studio, and they said she's a comedian, would you give her a shot? You know? Yeah, right.
Oh, that is just scary. She's just crazy. Oh, you know.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but that's okay. Well, we'll live with it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sound like what White Fang? Yeah. But you're breaking up. Maybe move the. Well, I was going to say move the phone, but then we'll move the picture.
Well, when I do this, I don't break up at all. I fooled you.
You fooled me. Okay. Anyway, so she would sit there every day, and then I would take her out to breakfast with my friend Gail. We'd go out to breakfast, and I'd buy her breakfast because she didn't have any money for breakfast, you know, and I fed her.
Okay.
And it was a very nice. I liked her a lot. She was a nice lady. I just never thought to say, "Hey, why don't you come on the show?" Because I didn't think she'd be funny.
Yeah.
I didn't get funny out of her. Okay.
Yeah.
About 5 months later, I'm watching TV, The Tonight Show. Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a new comedian, first time on our show, Roseanne Barr. And out walks Roseanne, and I go, oh my God. Did I ever fuck up?
Another show business success story.
You know what was nice about her, though? Several years later, I get a call from her people, and she wants to come and do my radio show. When she's going to be in San Francisco, and she wants to do the radio show. And she came by, and afterwards she said, yeah, the reason I wanted to do your radio show is you took care of me when I was nothing. And I just wanted to pay it back now that I am something.
Well, that was nice.
Yeah.
That was very nice of her.
And then about 2 years later, I got a hold of her, and I had to get a hold of her people because you can never get through directly to them once they become famous.
Oh, sure. You gotta go through the
And
people.
her people said, well, I'll check. And the woman came back and said, she doesn't know who you are. My, how famous.
What a coont.
What a coont.
Why?
Yeah. So anyway, so you did a gig with Jimmy Walker.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good guy. So.
He's actually still a pretty funny guy. Boy, you are breaking up something fierce now. I don't know why.
Really? Oh, the batteries are good.
Yeah. Well, just stay closer to the phone speaker there. Maybe.
How's it? Better?
It's better. Yeah. We're doing this on the rough, folks. As soon as you
buy some candy.
Get your goddamn computer working, okay? You know, the phone looks great.
Somebody connected up $100.
If you could use the phone,
$100, I'm buying a microwave with it.
if you could use your phone as the camera and use the other as your microphone, you'd be great. It'd be terrific. You know.
If only my superpowers were good under Earth's yellow sun. Nothing I can do.
Yeah.
This is good. Hello.
Well, let's see here. Well, we're running out of time anyway. So, but it's good to see that Steve. It's good to see Stephen Pearl. Toy boat. To see Stephen Pearl in new digs, working his camera, being able to do a thing with him.
Strong heart.
Yeah. And we'll, in this break, because we'll probably do another one of these, I will try and figure out if we can get your audio just a little better. And thank you, Stephen Pearl, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Pearl.
Thank you, Alex. I'm going to change my computer now, so it looks like we're on the show.
Goodbye.
Now in our 6th year, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Yes, that's Stephen Pearl. And let me turn on my lights. There we go. Okay. Oh, the lights. Anyway, that's Stephen. And next week, you'll hear an interview where it doesn't go even all the way through because it goes bad. Because he's got some problems with bandwidth or something like that. So once we get him back on his computer, he's, I think, going to be okay. But for right now, we got a problem. Okay? All right. Okay. Let me see here. Anything I want to talk about? Not yet. But I would like you all to please. I'm going to say I got to get things right here. There we go. Please give us a call if you want to. If you want to find out how to do it, it's very simple. You go over to gabnet.net, and over on the right-hand side of the page, it says Zoom here. Click here to Zoom us, and you just click on that, and you're on. You'll be put into our stream, into our show. I'm totally incapable of talking today. Okay, all right. Anyway, let me start admitting some people to our panel, and let's see here. Steve Callis is with us tonight, and wait a minute here. Have I got the right one here? Let me look here. This is we want gallery view. I see. Okay, now we're fine. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hello, Steve.
Hey.
Hello, Brian. Hello, me. Hello, Charlie. Oh, wait a minute. I have a theme song for Charlie here. Hold on. The theme song for Charlie. Not monetized for this show. We may have even cut the music out. If you suddenly hear a blank where the music where something should be, it's because they blanked out the music on us. Yeah, I knew the guy who wrote that, so I guess it's okay for me to use it. Anyway, hello there, Jeff. How are you? Anyway, Charlie, give your latest report.
Yeah, set a new record today. 2,900 deaths.
2,000
and over 200,000 cases
in one day.
In one day.
I saw a number that said 3,100.
Oh, okay. Well, I read it at 7 o'clock. So
the latest one I saw, because I just looked at it before I came here, because while my interviews are on, I usually hit the can for one more time so I don't have to pee during the show. Isn't that something you all wanted to know?
No.
Anyway,
we didn't know.
Well, we all do it.
And I looked at it and said 2,900. Now, 3,100 may be a new total that just came in, but that's terrible. I mean, that's just horrible.
That's a 9/11 in one day.
That's a 9/11 in one. Well, no, 9/11 was 3,000 people.
Well, yeah. Well, within 100.
Okay, but for the last 2 days, it's over 9/11. Okay,
Yeah.
So don't even complain about 9/11 anymore. And we're not even having planes crash into us. We're just having a little thing you can't even see crash into us. Boy, it is getting terrible. And what makes it even worse are all the people who do nothing about it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times does Fauci have to go on the air and say, if you'll just wear a mask? And today Biden announced that he's going to I don't know if he said he was going to mandate, but he was going to ask people for the first 100 days of his term to all wear masks.
Yep.
Oh, I'm not wearing a mask. That's a communist conspiracy. Have you heard the latest? The QAnon people are spreading the rumor that the vaccines are going to have a microchip in them.
Oh my God!
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
They're going to have a microchip in them, and I guess they'll be able to track you wherever you go. You know, so
It's called an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly. They can track me every day, every second of the day.
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah. But I mean, I just this is getting insane. And even my wife goes out, and I tell her, don't go out. She went out today. She went yesterday to get her nails done. Or no,
Calendar.
was it?
Oh my God!
No, wait a minute. Her nails or something else? I don't know. Some part of her body that needs maintenance. Okay. But she said the place she went to, there were only 3 people in the place at a time, and they put in a air purification system. It was one of those HEPA filters that's supposed to filter out coronavirus. So she says that's safe. Okay. Then my girlfriend, she's going with her girlfriend tomorrow up to Stu Leonard's to shop, and my girlfriend's fine, and I'm going, I think so, And she says, and then we're going to go over to her friend's place. But but her friend isn't home. Her friend isn't home, and we'll sit there and have some drinks and smoke some joints. And I'm going, great combination. COVID and getting high.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, I'm not accusing you of anything, dear, but you get sloppy when you get drunk. So I mean, so I'm afraid to sleep next to her now. I really am. Well, I was afraid to sleep next to her before, but that's a different story altogether. Anyway. But I mean, geez almighty, I'm afraid to go out. I'm afraid to step outside the front door.
Yep.
I mean, and I know from a practical standpoint, and I think Brian will agree with me on this since he knows more about this than any of us do, even though he's not an expert. That if I wear the mask and I stay 6 feet away from people, I'm probably pretty safe. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say? I mean that's pretty much the drill.
Yeah.
My question.
But it's still a big risk, with your age and everything. I mean, we still don't go out, and I still, it's 6 more months away at least until it's back to normal or semi-normal.
Well, if people take the vaccine, we need 75% of the country vaccinated for this thing to kill the virus. Okay, and current polls that have been taken and studies that have been done tend to say that only 50% of the people are willing to take it. Charlie?
Yeah, did you see that Obama, Clinton, and Bush have said that they will take the vaccine on TV to prove it's safe?
Yeah.
They'll get the shot on TV, live TV.
But if they die the next day, we're all up the creek.
We're all screwed.
I mean, we're all screwed. I don't know.
You guys hear about a doctor in Oregon who spoke at a Trump rally? He said ever since the pandemic started in his clinic, he's a doctor, him and his staff have never been wearing any masks. Oregon, this clinic in Oregon.
Oh, really? And how many of them are still alive? Yeah, I mean, these guys come out of the wall with these things, and you don't know they're even telling the truth,
Yeah.
But they make the news, people put it out there. But, I mean, there are a lot of lies being perpetrated. But, I mean, just the attitude that, I'm fine. I live a healthy lifestyle. Yeah, so, It's just driving me crazy. Man, I wish I didn't have to have these bright lights on. Oh, that feels so much better. Maybe I won't do the lights tonight. You know, maybe I'll turn all the lights off. Echo, turn off The Office.
Yeah, you hope your computer doesn't go off.
There we go. How's that, folks?
Now it looks like Halloween.
Yeah, spooky.
Yeah. Well, or I can then just turn on the lights. Okay, and then that's kind of nice. I don't have any other lights on, so it's kind of moody. But it's just these lights glare at me.
Why don't you have one in the middle instead of two on the side?
Because one in the middle doesn't look good. It kind of gives you a flat look. Two sides gives you, shadows and things like that. I can also dim one side or the other down as well. For instance, I can dim one side, and you see how we get the little more shadow there like that, and then I can bring it up, yeah. And I also have it in more orange and less orange. See, so I can do all kinds of things with these lights.
Or Trump orange.
The other thing is the two lights are not even. One is a larger light than the other, but as long as I balance them, I'm fine. Oh, Echo, turn on Office. There we go. Come on, I'm lazy, all right? I don't want to have to walk all the way over there to turn the thing on. Or up there to turn those lights on. We also have it in the pantry. We also have it in the bathroom, in the off the pantry. The lights in the guest room are all on voice. So, it's kind of cool, isn't it? You think it's cool? This is science fiction. This is the world I dreamed about. And I lived to see it. And now I'm really disappointed.
That's right. Oh, it doesn't do much.
Where's all our hover cars?
Tonight I was watching
They told me we'd have hover cars.
I was watching one of my guilty pleasures tonight, Young Sheldon, which is a show I kind of like. I don't know if anybody here watches it beside me. But at the end of the show, Chuck Lorre always runs a thing he calls vanity cards. And what they are is it's a whole big thing. You got to freeze frame your screen in order to read the whole thing because it just goes by really fast, and then you have to freeze frame it and then read it. And so every week I wait for that and I freeze frame it. And he used to do a different one for every show he had on the air. But now he does one for all the shows, and they're on each show for the week. And this one was about how about 20 years ago he was introduced to a thing called Facebook and MySpace, and it was social media. And he goes through this whole thing about it, and I did it for a while, and then I decided not to do it because I didn't like the idea the whole world was going to watch what I was doing. It didn't make sense. And blah, 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 blah. And he talked about, and then I'm not doing it today, and I don't do it, and whatever. And then it said, at the end, the very last thing was, hashtag, what the hell does hashtag mean?
Good question.
Yeah. So anyway, so how are you guys all doing? Yeah, it's quiet tonight. We just got 4 people and me.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we could all just kind of like smoke if you got them. I don't know about you. When you see a movie and somebody's smoking in the movie, doesn't that look antiquated now?
Yeah. Looking at some old shows. Not Carson stuff, but some other stuff I was looking at. Yeah, these guys were just puffing away, and that's bizarre.
Yeah, and what I really liked, what I thought was terrific, was the ads on TV. I don't know if you remember the ads for Lucky's, but 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Lucky's. Yeah. And 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Lucky's, and I'm wondering what happened to those 9 out of 10 doctors. And who was the doctor who didn't recommend it? Dr. Fauci? But no, they used to have ads saying, you knew cigarettes. Somehow you had to have the clue that cigarettes were bad when their main advertising featured the bullet point that Lucky Strikes are less harsh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything they said was, oh, it's not as harsh. Well, then the fact that it is harsh to begin with should say something to you. Anybody here smoke?
I used to.
You used to. I used to. Yeah.
I used to smoke when I'm with my Vietnamese friends. Because when we drink cognac and stuff, and then everybody goes to the garage. We all go to the garage and smoke, and then come back in.
Why would you smoke a cigarette, though? You don't smoke, right?
No.
Under normal conditions, you don't smoke.
No,
You don't,
I don't.
do you have a pack of cigarettes hanging around the house in case you want one?
Never. I never bought a cigarette.
Nothing like that, okay?
No.
But yet you'll go out to the garage to smoke a cigarette with your friends?
Yeah, with all the group. Because all the group did, so just go hang out with them.
Do you inhale?
Not really.
Then you're not smoking.
Yeah.
My mother, for years, goes, I got to have a cigarette. And she brings out a pack of cigarettes. She lights it, and then she goes, She never inhaled. I went, Mom, why are you doing that? Well, I have to smoke. And I'm going, you're not smoking. Smoking is when you inhale that stuff into your lungs, you know?
Yeah, I had some cigars. It's just my friends. Some other friends of mine used to smoke cigars, when it was sort of trendy. So I used to smoke with them, and
well,
nothing big though.
Yeah, I always think about what would I do if suddenly I was told by a doctor I have terminal cancer. What would be the first thing I would do? I think I'd try heroin. Really, just to see what it's like. I'd try heroin. Hell, help me not worry about the cancer, right? And if I'm lucky, I overdose.
Max your credit cards.
Max the credit cards out.
You have no kids. How you have no kids? They're not going to come and get you.
They can't go after anything, and I don't think if I will my money to my wife, I don't think they can go after a bequeath.
Get divorced. Get divorced. Resign just before you're done. See, just like Trump.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to be like Trump. I'll divorce her just before I die, so they can't get all the all the money.
Yeah, my mom died when I was young, and she was an only child. I took care of my grandfather before he passed away, and he was 86. And he started maxing out all his credit cards because they couldn't go out. They couldn't go after me. They called one time. One creditor called, and I said, "Oh, that Al Neary, he's my grandfather, but yeah, he passed away." And they said, "Well, where's his daughters or anybody?" And I said, "Well, I haven't talked to them in years," and I hung up on the guy.
Yeah, well, here's the thing that gets me. Here's the thing that gets me is that today I added up all the money I have and all the money Marjorie has, and then the apartment that she owns if we were to sell it, and said, okay, here's how much we have as assets. And there was a hell of a lot of goddamn money. And I don't think that if we live to be 100, we're going to go through all of it. And it's not that much, okay? But it's not that little. I mean, some people have nothing, right? They live paycheck to paycheck and they have nothing saved, right? Am I right? Charlie's putting his hand up.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking to myself, well, how long am I going to live? Am I going to live to be 100? And if I'm going to live to be 100, I'm going to be in a home somewhere drooling, so I'm not going to need the money there. So, what, why don't I start spending it? And then Marjorie says to me, yeah, we could go to Europe. If we could go to Europe.
Yeah.
If I wanted tomorrow to spend the money, there's no way I can spend the money.
But
yeah.
Assume that in 6 months you could go anywhere you want to. Where would you go?
Let me see here. If I could go anywhere in 6 months, where would I go? And the answer to that question is, I don't know.
I remember when I was listening to your show all the time in traffic, you kept saying you were going to go on some big trip and back and forth where you wanted to go, and you guys never went.
Yeah, well, I mean, we went to China. That was a big one for us.
How long ago was that?
That was about 10 years ago.
See?
You know, I mean, I think we probably, it would be nice if we went to somewhere, but you can't go anywhere. I would love to come to California and see Bubbles and see my business manager, see my money, see my stuff that's in storage. You know, I'd love to drop by and see you, Brian, and drop by and see Phil and hang out with Kevin. But I can't.
That's right.
You know, I wanted to go out and see Ronnie before she died, and I was going to, and then COVID hit. So, you know, I mean, there's really nowhere to go. Okay, well, why don't we drive there? Oh, yeah, and then you got to stay at all those motels along the way, you know.
Yeah.
At least 7 Petri dishes you're going to be sleeping in every night on the way to California.
I'll drive.
So, you know, there's no way to go. You know, so the best thing to do is to stay home. And then I stay here and I wake up in the morning. I woke up this morning, I said, I slept till 11 o'clock because I couldn't get to sleep till about 4, and I had to take a Xanax to put me to sleep last night.
4 in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was in bed by 2:30, but I was tossing and turning till about 3:30, and then I said, I better take a pill. And then I took the pill, and then it took a while to take. So I woke up at 11. Okay? And I went, oh, gee, it's only less than 12 hours before I have to do the show. And then when I'm through doing the show, I do nothing, and then I go to sleep. And that's my day, you know? And then Marjorie comes in and goes, come on, let's watch a movie. And I'm so sick and tired of lying in bed watching television. But it's not television, it's a movie. It's on the TV, okay? No wonder I'm having trouble walking these days. And, you know, I have no energy. I'm lying in bed all day watching some dopey movie. By the way, saw a strange film today. Have you heard of the film Fat Man? Okay. Let me tell you. It stars Mel Gibson. Okay? And he plays, in the beginning, you don't know really who he is, but he's got a beard, and everybody calls him Chris. Well, it turns out he's Santa Claus, and the Army is buying up the use of Santa Claus's workshop for 2 months every year to build bombers, because the elves are such good workers. And then there's this kid who got coal for Christmas from Santa and hires a hitman to go to wherever Santa lives and kill him. It's a strange movie. It's a very strange movie. Do not show it to Adrian as a movie about Santa, okay?
Okay. Not a holiday film.
Yeah. But I thought it was kind of interesting. You know, it wasn't terrible. You know, not like some other films I've seen recently. You know, and then Marjorie, of course, is always watching these, Turkish soap operas. Mm-hmm. And there was one she started watching. She got up to episode 100 and then could not bring herself to get to episode 163, which would have been the last episode. She gave up on it. And then she says, what do you want to watch? Well, then I'll watch my thing. What is it? Turkish drama. Because Netflix never calls them soap operas, but when they play off in Turkey, they're on 5 days a week. You know, they're like telenovelas. Because telenovelas play off in about 2 months, 3 months, and then that's it. That's the end of the story. So, anyway, that's my life. That's my boring, goddamn COVID life.
Can you take 10 minutes out of your 24 hours and get on that Peloton?
I would, except for one reason. Marjorie nags me to. If she didn't nag me to do it, I would probably see that Peloton sitting over there and go, maybe I better do that. You know, but I just, you know, you got to put on the shoes that go into the clips and and you get on. And then even if I did 15 minutes a day, which is what Charlie does, Charlie only does 15 a day. But if I did 15 a day, it'd probably be very healthy for me. But the ball and chain nags me about it and goes, you know, you feel a lot better if you'd only get on the bike. And when she says that, I go, no way I'm getting on the bike.
What about 3 in the morning when you're still up? She won't hear you.
Huh?
Do it at 3 in the morning when you're still up.
Yeah. Well, why don't I do it while I'm doing the show? I'll leave. You guys can talk to each other, and I'll go do the Peloton.
There you go. Like Ray.
Yeah.
I wish I could do it from there, but anyway, yeah. Anyway, people, there's some room here if you notice down below. There's room there. We could fit some more people in here if you'd like to call, but it's one of those quiet nights tonight. Anyway, yes, Jeff.
Yeah, so I got a bike,
Did you?
an indoor bike.
Hmm.
You can sit on it and exercise with it. And I've been doing it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurts my back every day.
Mine hurts the Peloton hurts my butt because those seats are not comfortable. You know, but so
You need a wider seat.
You need a wider seat. Yeah, you know, but then she's got her height for it and all of that. And it's a pain in the ass, literally.
Literally.
But you know, I probably should do it. You know, it would probably make me feel better, or at least it would get her off my back. You know, but I know what she'd say if I do 15 minutes a day. I do 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. I used to do 25 minutes when I went to the gym and then did a bunch of other things. But 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. And then I know she's going to say to me one day, "Why don't you do 30?"
Or you're going to say, or you're going to say, "Oh, I feel so good today." She's going to say, "See, I told you."
Yeah. I try to inform her that if I get on that bike and I go for any amount of time, I get sweaty. And if I get sweaty after I'm through, I have to take a shower. And I'm getting very used to, in the days of COVID, not having to take a shower. You know, I mean, I wait until I'm smelling something and then I get in the shower. You know.
Oh, poor Marjorie.
Huh? Well, she hasn't complained yet. In fact, the other day I said, you know, I don't know if I want to get on the bike because I have to go do a shower afterwards. And she said, "Oh, you don't have to do that." And I went, "When was the last time you took one?" And she said, "About 5 days ago." I said, but she says, "I did an hour on the bike today." Yeah.
Yes, I know.
No, but you know what? I'll tell you what the worst part about COVID is. It's not the disease that kills you. That's minor in comparison to the kind of life you start leading because of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have an undershirt under here. This is my 4th day with this undershirt. I don't care. Look at me. Look, I'm wearing, what do you call it? Workout pants. It's just like you have no reason to do anything. Nobody comes over to visit you, so you don't have to, you know, put your shoes on. So you're barefoot all day. You know, like, for instance, Charlie.
Yeah.
Didn't you wear that shirt yesterday?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have a different shirt every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I take a shower every day too. Nobody's visited me in 9 months, but I take a shower every day.
Now you know who looks comfortable tonight is Steve. Where are you now, Steve? Did you make it to Barstow or?
I'm still in Barstow. I'm
Oh boy! All of a
Doing
sudden,
my 36-hour reset.
yeah,
You hear me?
your audio was perfect earlier, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's gotten kind of, you know.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, no, we can hear him. It's just
I was just
it's breaking
I,
up.
I was just doing my hours of service break, my 36-hour service break. So I'm still in Barstow.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
So how long do you have to stay not driving in that break?
We get 70 hours in a week to drive, and uh, when I got to Barstow, I only had 40 hours to get back to Toronto, and that's not enough. You need at least 55 hours because once you figure in driving, fueling, pre-trip inspections, it's more than 40 hours.
Okay, so you have to stay undriving.
So I had to sit for 36 to reset my hours.
Oh
Yeah.
wow!
wow.
So do you pretty much stay? I guess you're staying in that cab a lot because you don't want to go out where the COVID is, right?
I just take every once in a while, I'll go inside to use the washroom.
Uh-huh.
I'll take Rocky out for a pee.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew his business. Maybe go for a walk in the parking lot with him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't stay in the truck stops anymore.
Yeah. No. That's got to be a terrible place. Yeah.
Not just because of COVID, because sometimes I can't stand the drivers.
Yeah. Well, I've known a lot of drivers, right? Because when I was doing Sirius XM, drivers used to call me.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how many drivers hated drivers. You know, I mean, but my question to you is, you got to eat, right? So do you somehow eat in the cab of your trailer? I mean, of your truck?
I got a microwave. Right here, and I got a fridge right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I stop usually at Walmart because they're the only grocery store chain that actually allow trucks to park. I'll shop there and fill up my fridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then you cook for yourself. That's wonderful. It sounds good to me, you know. But anyway, so a couple of, not much in the news, you know. Again, if you watch MSNBC, it's going after Trump all the time. I think what was the big story today that they were on? Oh, I'll tell you what did happen. You remember this Stephanie Powell? Is her name Stephanie Powell? I'm trying to remember her name. She was one of the lawyers with Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that lady.
she and another guy went down to Georgia and told the Georgia Republicans, it's going to be fixed, this election, so don't vote.
Yeah, she actually said that.
Yeah, she actually said that. And then the guy got up and said exactly the same thing. Don't vote. It's going to be rigged. So that's going to keep Republicans away from voting for the senator.
Hope so.
Hope so. But how stupid can you be to do that? And then Trump's going down there to campaign for them, and they're asking him not to come down. They consider him right now the kiss of death.
Yeah.
You know, so.
I don't know. Is this a plan that rather than failing, they're going to artificially fail? And they say, well, they didn't allow us to win anyway.
Yeah, well, it's all a big plot, you know. I mean, we all know the Democrats have the big wherewithal to go to all the states where Trump would prevail and take the election away from him. Of course, they didn't go to any of the states where he was going to win it just outright. I mean, it's just so stupid. I just wish it would all stop. It's giving me a headache.
Yeah, please leave.
Please leave. Well, here's the thing. You know, you know the Lincoln Project, and you know the ads that they've been doing. And they did one And they did something they have never done in any of their ads. And I don't know if you saw this one, but it talks about this and that with Trump and this and that with Trump. And then Trump said this and Trump said that and Trump said this and Trump said that. And the last line in the ad is, "So Donald Trump, will you just shut the fuck up?"
Yeah.
And I'm going, God, I never heard them use language like that before the Lincoln Project, but it's now, will you just shut the fuck up?
Yep.
And I think that's the way we all feel. I mean, I'm just so tired of it, you know?
Steve.
Supposedly he's not going to go to the inauguration, but he's going to announce that day that he's running in 2024.
Good.
Why? You know, to begin with, nobody's seriously going to be thinking about the election till 2 years beforehand, which is about a year too early so far as I'm concerned. But he's, you know.
Did you see the interviews tonight? The Harris and Biden interview on CNN?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh.
How was it?
They had a great shot. It was good. It was the same stuff, you know, that he's been talking about. But they had the guy Jake, he asked him a question, said, you know, Trump is saying that he may not go to the inaugural, and he starts continuing his sentence. Well, they flashed over to Biden, and he's smiling like he's laughing, you know. And then he knows that they flashed him. He sort of stopped, and then he says, "Oh well, you know, I think it's bad for the U.S. that he's not going to come if he doesn't, you know." And this stuff.
Well, he's not going to go. He's not going to go to the inauguration. Now the question is Biden going to go to the inauguration?
Yes.
You know, is Biden going to start distancing himself from Trump at this point? You know, because
Are they still planning to do it outside?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're building right now. They're building the
that's right.
the platforms and everything. You know, and the stands and so on. They're building them even as we speak. And I'm sure
But there's going to be a limit on how many people can go, or
I think there will be. Yeah. I would imagine because it's a Biden event. They're going to say, you know,
Social distance.
social distancing. I think it'll be limited. And then Trump, of course, is going to say, "See, more people showed up to mine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake Tapper after the interviews, he was outside the White House. You know that shot of, you know, those CNN reporters on the White House is behind him, sort of down a little bit.
Yeah.
He had that shot going, and Don Lemon made a comment to him saying, "There's a bunch of music. Is there a party going on?" And he says, "No." He says, "All the protesters keep blasting rap music. They're blasting rap music to the White House for Trump."
Oh, really?
Yeah, he says, luckily right now it's pretty G-rated, but yeah, they've been blasting rap for, I guess, a couple of weeks, I guess, for this. So they're just like tormenting him, I guess.
Didn't they try to do that to the president of Panama? And they were trying to get him to come out. They kept playing horrible music.
And Wham.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Wham or something.
Boy. So did they say anything in the interview that was overwhelming, or was it just all?
All the same stuff, you know. What do you want to do? He's saying he wants, like you said, the 100 days of the mask.
Yeah.
And they did bring up a couple things, though. They brought up, you know, will you have any people in your family, you know, like Hunter or anybody in any kind of roles or doing any kind of business? And he said straight up, he said, no, they will not be doing any business that even looks like it's, you know, interfering with the U.S.
Oh, okay.
So it was good, very good. And Kamala was there too. So they're going back and forth. You could tell that Kamala and Biden really have a good rapport going back and forth.
I would say so, yeah.
On the same page.
Yeah, yeah. And she's, I think she's very accomplished. I think she's pretty damn good, you know, and I think she'll be fine too. You know,
And he said one interesting thing also, you know, saying that, well, the NAACP is putting pressure on him, you know, to get more people of color on the cabinet. And he pushed back, said, I have the most, you know, diverse panel that anybody's seen in history. And he goes, but I understand that they're lobbying for their groups, and so are other groups. He goes, I understand all that stuff, and I have to do what's best for the country. So,
well, I something has been bothering me lately is this whole discussion. One of the things they're saying here, Cuomo says here in New York, is that we're going to make sure that blacks and brown people are going to be among the first to get it, because they are the ones who are most affected by COVID. That they, what was it? Blacks die at twice the rate from COVID that whites do, and browns at 1.5 times the amount of that whites do. And I'm sure that's true, but I don't think it's a question of black and brown. Okay, I think it's a question of poverty. I think it's a problem of poor. And I think we, for too long, have said, oh, we need to get more blacks into the body. I think we need to get more poor people in the cabinet. You know, people who can come to it with a different way of looking at things because they've been there, you know. So this whole idea about you got to have blacks, you got to have browns. No, you have to have disadvantaged people. And when it comes to getting the shots, the disadvantaged should be first, because they're the ones who aren't able to see doctors. They're the ones who don't keep their medical selves in good order. And, you know, speaking for my neighborhood, I see more black people in this. To begin with, I live in a very black neighborhood, okay? Harlem folks, so, you know, it's going to be a very black neighborhood. But I live in a very black neighborhood. And in this neighborhood, the wearing of masks is not what people do, you know, and it's almost in defiance, because, you know, it's not like it's bad enough that you see people who've got a mask and they've got it around their chin, or they're putting it over their mouth and they haven't put it over their nose. That's bad enough. But there are some people there, and I have to say, at least in my neighborhood, they're black, okay, who just don't wear the masks at all. They don't have a mask available to them. They're just walking down the street. I'm healthy. I don't need it. Yeah, but you know what you're doing when you don't wear a mask? It's like putting a gun to my head. You know? Yeah. Yes, Jeff. Yes, Jeff.
What happens when they go to a store?
Then they have to wear a mask, but I guess they don't go to a store. Let me ask you, Charlie, because you're of the black persuasion. Why is it that blacks seem reluctant to wear masks? Is there something socially about it, or is there something politically about it, or is it they don't trust the government, or what reason do you think is going through their head? And don't they
realize? The only thing I can think of is that maybe they're afraid that the cops are going to think they're robbing somebody and shoot them. I mean, because nothing in my upbringing makes me not want to wear a mask.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems almost like they go out of their way not to wear a mask. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I don't know that I accept that as an excuse. And what bothers me is, yes, Black Lives Matter, and if they do, wear a goddamn mask.
Especially with the mortality rate, like you were saying, being twice what.
Yes.
That would make me want to wear a mask even more.
I mean, I see a big, black, fat woman walking down the street not wearing a mask, and I go, "What's she trying to commit suicide? What is this?"
Yeah.
You know, she has a comorbidity. And for some reason, I mean, it's not like the disease goes after blacks, but it's because of the social situation and their ability to have access to medical care that is causing blacks and brown people to be disproportionately affected by COVID. But I mean, I would just think that blacks would say, "Oh no, I'm wearing a mask because it's coming after me," you know. I mean, what do they used to have for a black disease? Wasn't sickle cell a black disease?
Yeah, that was
Yeah. I mean, if you knew that wearing a mask would prevent sickle cell, every black person would be wearing a mask because they know it was a disease that specifically attacked black people. I don't know. I mean, am I being racist here, Charlie, or is my observation?
No, I don't. It's just, I mean, these are facts. I don't.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Jeff.
Where I live, it's white people, and they're all older people because to live in there you have to be 65 plus. Okay.
Older people? I would think older people would just, Marjorie's wearing 2 masks. Okay.
But it's you can walk anyone you want, and very few people will walk around other people. A lot of people just stop by, say hello, talk to them. I mean, they try to stay like 10 feet away or something like that, maybe 5 feet. But they're pretty much, they don't wear any masks. I've never seen masks there. Now, if you go to the store, they all have to wear masks to get in there. When I go to get the mail and stuff, I put a mask on.
I go down to get the mail and take my elevator to go down and get the mail. I put a mask on.
The only one that does that.
Yeah. And I'm being overly cautious, but you've got to be overly cautious. And by the way, there isn't a vaccine yet. All right? Just because it's around the corner doesn't mean you're going to make it to around the corner.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm sure Brian's been trained how to wear masks when you go into certain labs and tests. And
Well, what are the best masks?
That you're used to it.
What are the best masks, Brian? Because I assume that the surgical mask is probably the best.
That's the one that, for me, that's the best, because that one, my big nose, I could put the metal piece around and all the way around my chin, and I have no problems.
I just got some new ones that Phil recommended, because the trouble with masks is if you're wearing glasses,
they fog up.
You all know what happens.
That's what that little metal wire is.
Well, no.
Shape it against your nose, and it prevents the air going up towards your eyes.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Forces your air down.
I'm still fogging up. I fog up. I mean, I always pinch this because I feel that pinching it is, it makes it more comfortable all the way around. Right. It makes it stay there. Some people go out and they buy these cloth ones, which I don't think have the same level of protection as these do. Right. And I see them on television, and they're talking, and they keep slipping down. Now, I've seen these, the ones I like. I'm trying to find out where I can buy them. I like them. They look good. They look like you can breathe better in them. Are the Daffy Duck masks, the duck masks? They look more like you're a duck. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. They're sort of pinched. Yeah.
They kind of come out like this.
Oh, okay.
And I just feel there's probably more breathing room in there. You're not going to get as suffocated, because the problem that I have with wearing the mask. I mean, hey folks, if you say you don't want to wear a mask because they're uncomfortable, yes, I agree with you. They're uncomfortable, but you must wear a mask. That's all there is to it. But the reason why I don't like using a mask is because when I go walking, I get lightheaded because my breathing, I can't breathe as well with the mask on. So people who want to exercise, for instance, runners and things like that, I mean, you'd love to wear a mask, but boy, it's got to be terrible if you're a jogger,
Yeah, I was doing elliptical before everything shut down, and it's tough, but
yeah.
Gotta do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but and you keep the mask on, but you're panting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like after like 15 or 20 minutes, I gotta take it off. When nobody's around, I'll take it off and wipe my face with my towel because it'd be just sweating.
What I do with the mask is if I'm walking down the street and there's nobody within a half a block of me, I will pull it down and just breathe. And then when I get close to somebody, put it back up again.
Yeah.
But it sure feels good to breathe without that, you know. I mean, no, because especially when it's like spring and stuff, you smell flowers. You know, I smell all the people who are smoking pot. You know, it's really, yeah. But anyway,
yeah. So Gavin Newsom shutting everything down tighter. I guess it starts tomorrow, but they're closing all the hair salons and barber shops again, and they're doing only deliveries for restaurants, only takeout now.
Well, it's gotten pretty bad in California, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Almost caught back up to Texas.
Yeah, I mean, New York has got a problem again. Our latest numbers, let me see here. I got the latest Cuomo encyclical here. Hold on a second. Mario Cuomo, coronavirus update. State positivity rate ticked up to 4.84. Now you got to remember, we at one point were down about a 0.6. Okay, we were down to where we didn't have a single death in New York State for about 2 days running.
Yeah.
All right. There were 9,855 positive cases from, you ready for this? Well, because we test more than anybody. 203,440 tests. And a couple of days ago, it was up to 250,000 tests that we did in New York State. There were 783 patients in ICUs yesterday, up 41 from the previous day. Of them, 377 are intubated. So that's roughly half. Sadly, we lost 61 New Yorkers to the virus. And a couple of weeks ago, that was down around in the, below 10. So it's not been good here. But still, if you look at all the states in the nation and how infected they are, we are fourth from the bottom. It's Vermont, Hawaii, Vermont, Hawaii, I think, then us, then Massachusetts, but sometimes Massachusetts goes into third place. So, I mean, we're still doing very well, all things considered. But I'm not giving myself with that, and he says it's going to go up because of the whole Thanksgiving deal, and this holiday season.
Do you think East Coast has it a little bit easier because they are used to staying in more for the winter time? Because like here, it's still like 65 degrees, 70 degrees sometimes, and people are so used to going out all the time.
It may be nice outside. Listen, it was a beautiful day outside today. I look out the window and I see a beautiful day, and yeah, you would love to go out there and walk in it. But you've got to realize, it's like I used to say about when it gets really cold, but it looks beautiful outside. I go, well, you got to pretend like it really is a bad weather day, because it really is. It just doesn't look like it. I think people have to say to themselves, look, I don't like staying indoors. I want to be out there. I'm getting COVID fatigue from being indoors, and I understand that. But you gotta stay indoors. That's the only way we're going to beat this thing. We can, every state that has a problem right now had the ability to flatten the curve. The only reason they didn't is because assholes wouldn't wear masks. They went to Thanksgiving Day parties. They went to football games. I mean, whatever. And I mean, I think I blame business too. I think business should have accommodated here. I talked about the airlines. I wish one of those airlines would have said, we're just not going to fly at all. It's killing people, But no, they got to make their money. And the football people have to play their football games. Why? Because what else would there be to bet on, you know? And we go on and on and on with this. And it's all a matter of the finances out of it. Now, the governor here says that he doesn't mind people in restaurants if there's like at 1/4 capacity, 25% capacity. And he said the reason he doesn't mind that is he thinks they're actually safer than congregative situations with families. He says families right now are the super spreaders.
Yeah.
You know, people come over for Thanksgiving, kids come in from out of state, they bring it with them, they pass it on to the relatives, bingo, everybody's got it. But he felt that the restaurants were doing everything they could because they want to stay in business with air filtration, things like that, to do the best job they possibly could in this respect. So, you know.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to the first stimulus package that they sent out, and they sent out all this money to all these companies.
Yeah.
And they didn't release the list of where all that money went. And, you know, who knows where that went. And it didn't go probably to the small business owners. And, you know, the business owners were shut down if they were able to get some money from it.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't release that list. So all of these, remember, we were talking about that way back, all these big steakhouses were getting all these millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, and it was like, oh, we can't close the bars. What? Why can't you close the bars? Oh, yeah, because the alcoholics need their booze, right? They didn't, and all of that, right down the street, we got a liquor store. That liquor store was open. It had a line in front of it, but that liquor store was open. And I'm going, why? You know? I need to blow my nose, believe it or not. Should I turn off my mic while I do this? Here we go. There we go. Okay. Got to tell you something. You know, there's always a silver lining to everything. And if there's a silver lining to COVID, it's this. Did you hear about Warner Brothers today? What they announced? Okay. How many here have HBO Max? I have it. Yeah. Because I've got an Apple TV. I can't get it on Roku because Roku doesn't carry it. All right. If you've got HBO Max, all the major releases for the next year are going to play for a week in a theater, and then they're going to HBO Max for a month.
Oh, wow.
So on December 25th, they're opening up in the theaters Wonder Woman 84, I think it's called.
Oh.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same day, you can watch it on HBO Max and not pay anything extra but the subscription you already have.
Wow.
And they're going to do that with every movie they produce for the next year. So that's the good news about COVID. You know, when did that happen? And it's not
even cheaper for my family.
Well, they didn't even do what Disney did, which was like when Mulan came out, they charged $30 to have people see Mulan, at least initially. And my question is, I wonder how well they did, because if they did well, I think Warner Brothers would be charging for Wonder Woman extra. But I guess maybe they didn't get the kind of business they thought they were going to get. And HBO, and probably Warner Brothers feels, since they own HBO, you know, I mean, they're part of the HBO family. They're owned by, who is it, AT&T, I think now. But they're going to, you know, they probably figured, hey, we'll sell some subscriptions, you know. We'll make our money that way. And it'll give value to the brand, and people will stick with us because they're going to want to see all these Warner Brothers movies that are coming out over the year. So it's interesting. And I'm wondering how many else are going to follow that. I know that Universal was releasing all their films this year immediately on pay-per-view, just immediately. Things like The Invisible Man, things like that. I wonder how many other companies are going to follow suit. hopefully a lot of them, you know. But are they going to make the big blockbusters? And now it looks like all the major stars are doing their movies for Netflix. You know, they're just saying, "Hey, I'll make my money for the movie, do it on Netflix, and get a good payday." And Netflix has deep pockets. You know, if you're a big major actor, you're Steven Spielberg, you want to do your next movie, they're probably willing to pay you, you know, $10 million to give it to them. So. Anyway, it's a whole new way of merchandising it, because I ain't going into a movie theater. In fact, I'm not ever going into a movie theater again. You know, I think everybody has learned a big lesson here, and that lesson is you don't want to get in that kind of congregated setting. I think even if we all had 75% of us got the vaccine, which is considered the tipping point for us to be safe, I don't think I would go back into a movie theater. Would any of you? How do you feel about it? Jeff? Well, maybe you never went to a movie theater anyway. Turn your mic on, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm not going to any movies.
Yeah.
I just won't go do it. I'll see a show once those come back.
A Broadway show?
Yeah.
Why would you see a Broadway show but not go to a movie?
I don't know, because
outside of the fact that movies suck and Broadway is sometimes fun. But...
No, when I say Broadway, it doesn't have to be Broadway. It could be in something in New Haven or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's a personal performance, okay?
How about you, Steve? Would you immediately, once you got the vaccine, would you be ready to go back into a movie theater, or are you just as happy? Really?
Yeah, because I'm not just. I like watching movies, but I also like going to sports events.
Okay.
Like hockey.
Yeah.
And baseball.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. You know.
I miss that.
Yeah.
I like going with my friends.
I mean, the only thing I would miss about movies is that they are a kind of a group event. In other words, you have a whole bunch of people experiencing the film together. But I don't know if that makes it worth it, because I can sit here and have a bunch of people watching my big screen TV and see it first run here at home, and it's just fine. I mean, if you have the choice of seeing a movie, this is the better question. If you had a choice of seeing a movie first run on TV, on your TV set at home, or seeing it in a theater, where would you want to watch it?
Paying, it's at home.
Huh?
At home.
I'm paying.
I got a man cave at home, so with a 60-inch TV. So
yeah, right.
There you go.
There you go. And you got the surround sound. You know, you got the whole thing. I've got a 3D TV set, so if I want to watch it in 3D, I can watch it in 3D.
In fact, I got a DVD collection just like you, right in the back, like you got behind you.
So I mean,
I have about 500 DVDs and about 300 Blu-rays.
Yeah, yeah. I don't buy DVDs anymore though, because I just.
Or neither do I.
You know.
You're the other guy.
I have Netflix.
You're the other guy with the Blu-rays. You too.
Listen, I still have a whole couple of boxes in storage up with Damian Chaplin at his storage facility of laser discs.
A laser disc.
And I still have a laser disc player up there, so I have something to play them on. Mm-hmm. But and I used to have a gigantic laser disc collection. And
How much did you spend on that?
I would say $10,000 maybe over the time that I was buying them. They were like $34 each.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And they were heavy. You know, they were two-sided, and I have a player that actually will play the other side as soon as it's finished playing one side. But I mean, but yet at the time that was the state of the art. I mean, you didn't get a better picture than you got with laser discs. But that's been all replaced now. And now you just have files you download from the internet, you know, and if you buy them or if you somehow get them because you're, well, it's not like stealing exactly, but everything you want is out there. But anyway, so I mean, it's gonna. I think we have forever changed how we do things. I don't think we're gonna go back to going to movie theaters in droves, or even maybe going to sports events in droves. Although the sports events have a slightly different reason for existence, and people do kind of like them. There was a great, if you get a chance on HBO, they have the thing with Brian Gumbel. Real Sports. And the second story on the show, or the third story on the show, was about all these people who like to be the mascots and paint themselves up and go to the games and stuff. And what's happened to them? And how do they feel about it? And some of them are just almost suicidal because they can't do it. They've lost their identity. This one guy who plays the banjo at all these games,
Oh yeah, that's the A's, Oakland A's guy. That's
the Oakland A's guy. And then they had another guy, who
Crazy George
was
Crazy George.
Yeah, and then there was Gorilla Rilla. And so they did a whole piece on these people and what's happened to them because of COVID, because they've lost their identity. And this one woman is almost she was almost suicidal before she started dressing up and going in with these people. And she said, I found a family. And I mean, it's a really very interesting piece. And the thing I like about Real Sports is it's a sports show I can watch because all the stories there's stories that just people don't do about sports, And who would think to do a story about all those mascots and what happened to them when there are no games anymore? And they can't go to the ones that are happening now. Mm-hmm. And then Gorilla Rilla married a woman who was a pretty good-looking woman, who was also another mascot. So I mean, if you get to see that piece, go watch it. It's really fascinating. That and the one before it about the use of hallucinogenics to solve brain trauma problems for football players and hockey players, and how they took drugs and it really helped them a great deal. So the one sports show I will watch, Marjorie turned me on to it, and I went, yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. This is like 60 Minutes, only maybe in some ways a little bit better. So
They always have a year-end show also. They have a lot of the highlights from it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, highlights this year. What highlights? What highlights? Hey, there's the theme. Been a little slow in numbers of people here, but it's been a good show. And look, instead of Adrian now, we have, what's the dog's name again?
Rocky.
Rocky. We have Rocky. Where's Adrian tonight?
Playing games.
Oh, you're saying don't encourage her, huh?
Yeah. She's getting too wild. She keeps grabbing the camera when she's talking to me.
Yeah, well, if you have anything to say to her for me, it's...
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell her you said that.
Yeah. All little kids make that face. I don't know why. Somehow.
She's never made that face before.
Really? Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much, Brian Neary. Appreciate it. Thanks also to Charlie Wallace. Thank you, Steve. It always looks like you're in a break room somewhere. I mean, it's that comfortable a place you've got there. And, of course, Jeff, always nice seeing you. Everybody, give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye back at you. Okay, that's our citizen panel for tonight. Let me just hang up on them unceremoniously. Jack Bishop is next. He's going to be here with The Intersection. He'll be taking calls on Skype, and the ID to call on Skype is you just type in Gabnet Live, GABNETLIVE, and he'll be happy to talk with you. I'll be back again tomorrow night. 10:30, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her. And by the way, be safe out there. And do yourself and your friends a favor by wearing a mask. It's the best thing you can do. See you tomorrow night.